Yeah, I'm just curious what you felt like happened there in the end of the second half when the game got away from you and what you told the team at halftime.
Well, Jeremiah, the tactical, technical piece, the soccer piece of what I said is what I can repeat. Vision is the key. So, look, uh, you can't make a good decision unless you see the entire field, both defensively, first minute of the game, when they're taking a short corner and you've turned your back, and your job, as outlined, is to watch for short corners. And again, I have to accept some of that because that's my job as a coach to make sure that the team starts and is prepared for the start of the game. And then you're behind, but then you get a bit of the game. But look, I mean, we pressed, we worked, we stole some balls, but we didn't have the quality in the final third. Rothrock hit a couple of good shots. Albert cutting inside, he scores that goal 9 out of 10 times. And 1-1, maybe it's a little bit different to give the guys a little belief, a little bit of confidence. But then on the plays that led to the second goals, I mean, it's vision and awareness. We talk about active defending. We talk about making better decisions in the attacking part of the field to lose possession of the ball as easy as we did. And then, transition defending is a lot about effort. And I don't think Jackson saw Lozano running behind him. Uh, you know, a 35-year-old guy makes a run from deep. He's running from deep to score. I mean, those are things that we can't give goals away like that. This league is too good. Expansion team or not, Mikey did a good job. His players made plays. My players didn't.
All right, George, we'll go back to you next. And a reminder for all media, if you have a question, please hit that raise hand function button.
Coach, I wanted to know a little bit more about the decision to play Georgie on the number 9 position and kind of trying to see the positives. What did you think about Reed and Pedro coming back from injury?
Pedro was good. I mean, that was a spark. That's one positive. Look, again, I'll accept responsibility for Georgie as the number 9 and Jesus. It was supposed to be fluid. We'd start Georgie there, but in the run of the play, Jesus can go and Georgie come out in his natural position just to unbalance them a little bit. I know Georgie's not a number 9, but I don't know if Jesus is a number 9 in the vein of Jordan Morris and running in behind. So we thought Georgie could stretch the field and open the field up a little bit so that we could, extend our possessions into the two pockets. And Jesus against San Jose played very well in that right pocket. I mean, we were very good in the second half in San Jose. We were a little bit, injuries again now to two more players, but, Danny Masowski was going to start the game. But in the collision with the San Jose goalkeeper, he injured his back, so he couldn't train all week, and he didn't know if he could make 90 minutes. So we were kind of just grasping at straws a little bit. I feel bad for Georgie because the kid puts everything into the game, into the team. He wants to do so well. So, I have to accept that.
All right, Felipe, you are next. Please ask your question.
Thank you, Alex. Coach Brian, you've been in this situation before where the team has a slow start in the beginning of the season. Do you have the hope that the team is going to start performing as the season start going on?
Yes, of course, Felipe. Look, we've had slow starts. We had a slow start last year. Came within 8 minutes of getting to overtime against the Galaxy. So I'm not concerned about that. But I did remind them after the game of where we are and, the challenges that we face with, the next man has to step up when injuries happen. We still have to make plays. We still have to understand how we want to play. So the message in there was, just firm. But yeah, I have confidence in the team. It's a good team.
All right, Jeremiah, back to you for follow-ups.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple injuries. Obviously, Alex was one. Was Albert pulled at halftime because of an injury, or what was What was the other injury, and why was Albert pulled at halftime, I guess?
Albert was pulled at halftime for an adductor injury.
And do you have a sense of how serious that is, or?
We will. We can't assess them now because we got to jump on a plane, but we'll assess them when they're back in Seattle. But both of them, I don't know if they're like significant injuries, but they're certainly injuries that force them out of this game. And we'll address that when we're back, and I'll give you guys more information on Tuesday.
And if I could just ask another question, Paul said that this has to be rock bottom. Does it feel like a rock bottom type of game and I guess how do you message that?
Well, so maybe he was keying on some of the comments I made, or the players actually were talking at halftime about, not giving up. And, it's a strong core group in there. They wanted to make sure they didn't take any more goals in the second half and try and create something. But, we're 11 games into the season, 7 league matches and 4 CCC matches. So, yeah, it's about time for us to start going. And if Paul felt that way, great, because he's a competitive kid, and good on him. And I hope that, he can, make a difference in training and make a difference in the next game against Dallas.
All right. I'm not seeing any other questions or hand raised. So unless I'm missing everyone, I'll pause a beat. I think
I've got one question here in the room if you want to toss to Steve Clare.
Yep. Sounds good. Go ahead, Steve.
How, Brian? Obviously, not ideal situation. So the first question is the obvious. Are there any positives you can take out of today?
I'll probably have to watch the film to see if there's any positives, because right now the players don't feel very good, and neither do I, and the coaching staff and the support staff and everybody that puts a long effort into these games. And I don't think that any of our fans, because our fans were there, they were tremendous. I could hear them across the way, stuffed up way in the corner. I don't think they're feeling very good. So I'll have to look at the tape to find some positives, what we can build on. But right now, no.
What were you more disappointed about? The team in possession or the team out of possession?
I believe it was a combination of both. I'll say 50-50. You weren't in there for my number one disappointment was the lack of vision and understanding of the game that was unfolding around them. That goes, the next layer is in attack and in defending. I don't think we were good enough in attack. Again, I'm not faulting blame on Georgie, who did a good job up front, but defending as well. The lack of vision, the lack of understanding where the danger's coming from. Those were the.
One final question I made. Is the absence of Jordan Morris felt more than just on the field for the 90 minutes? Do you think when he eventually comes back, there'll be something more than just what he does on game day that will reconnect everything?
Well, look, soccer's a team sport. Jordan is obviously a very big, vital part of our team. But we have 28 really super talented guys. And when a guy gets injured, the next guy has to step up. That's our mantra. That's the way we've been successful for all these years. And right now, I need some guys to step up until Jordan comes back, but it certainly will be a lift. It will be a lift emotionally and soccer-wise when Jordan comes back. And also Pedro de la Vega, because I thought, again, and I didn't mention really Reed there. Reed was okay, cameo, but I thought Pedro came on and did a good job.